Hello, I'm Kelly Foss, and I am happy that you can join me for my online workshop series with Strathmore. Today we're going to draw a still life. So here is my favorite pad of paper. And since I'm using a tilted board, I need to grab my kneaded eraser to set up my pad so it doesn't slide off. I'll look over to the left at my supplies. What's great about drawing is if you had a piece of paper and a pencil, you're good to go. But it's also nice to have all these things. And here's our model, a bunch of bananas. I picked out two and I posed them, so here's what my view looks like. I chose to place them on a light wood tabletop because it's very similar in value to the tan paper. And when I say value, I mean the lightness and darkness of something. This way I can focus on drawing the subject and not the surroundings. I'm starting off with a 2B. And I'm doing what is called a block-in. So what's great about a block-in is it's literally that. We are blocking in our image. So I'm looking for the major tilts and the major shape. I'm not really thinking of it as bananas right now. I'm just looking at it as a giant mass. If that's hard to do, you can squint. I'm looking over at my subject quite often, and I'm doing these tilt comparisons. And this is a point-to-point comparison. So I'm looking at the stem down to the end of that top banana, and I'm seeing that major tilt. You can see how sketchy I'm drawing. Now something is feeling off. Now this point-to-point comparison is interesting because it's this top banana. Its end relationship to the other banana is closer. So I'm going to move that other banana down a little bit lower. Yeah, that's way more accurate. So still not even looking at them as bananas, just shapes. I can also look at the hole there between the stems, because that's a pretty unique shape. The block-in is really about shape finding and mass comparisons and finding those tilts to agree with the subject that you have. The overlap of lines show dimension in the piece. But I'm not going to go crazy and outline the banana. I'm still looking at it with straight edges, straight lines. Helps me to be able to see more accurately. So now I'm blocking in the shadows, and now that the shadows are generally blocked in, I can mass in the shadows. What does that mean? I'm grabbing my clean bit of tissue and just mushing together the graphite that is existing on the page. Now with the 4B, I'm going to reestablish the darker areas, ever improving upon the tilts. You'll see I'm getting more specific with my line work, as before it was looser and sketchier. Now as I evaluate the piece more, I can be more confident in my mark making. And shape finding, isn't this fun? There's a little triangle here as the banana end. And this one, I'd say it's more squarish. When we're drawing iconically, kind of the image that we have in our brains of a cartoon banana, they're very pointy, but if you look at these, they're pretty plumpy. Okay, I'm widening the stem there. I'm making notations of that. I can see these major plane changes, and this is more of a shape. I'm just improving on all of my shapes. Now a little bit of a cleanup. Now here's where the brush comes in handy. We never want to oil our paper with our fingers. Our fingers have oils. So this is a clean way to get rid of those eraser peels. With the 6B, the darkest pencil we have, we restate the darkest moments. So squint at your subject, whether you're working from the subject that I'm sharing with you or you have your own fruit or still life object from home. Squint at your subject to better find where are those darkest moments. In areas that I don't need to be that dark, like these plane changes on the banana, I'm using my pencil very lightly. If this is difficult for you to do, just switch to a harder pencil, which out of the 3 we have, that would be the 2B. But right now I'm sticking with the 6B. I'm massing in some more shadow value, some more darkness, doing a little more smudging out. And now I clean just the top plane of the banana or both of the bananas with the eraser. And that allows a little bit of that graphite muss to help tell the story of the form. With a ruler, doing the table line. And now the white pastel pencil, adding the lightest lights. It was valuable that we cleaned up the paper before doing this, because adding white on top of graphite, it makes a kind of sludgy mess. Remember the light's direction from upper left down to lower right. So that helps us to evaluate what is the lightest light. Sometimes we look at a subject like a banana and just see the whole thing is bright. But the theme of our lesson today is to not pop contrasts. Back to the 2B. So the harder pencil is good for subtle moments, like the turning of the form here. So I'm adding a little bit of value to help improve the banana's shape. And also I'm helping there to be a transition of value. From under the banana, it's a darker value, a darker shadow. And then as the shadow moves away from the subject, it has a softer, lighter edge. Still using the 2B. It's all about focusing on value transitions. If you squint at my photograph of bananas, you can see that the shadow climbs up the edge of the banana just a little bit more in this one bend. And then between the bananas, there's a deeper shadow. And then under the banana, from the darkest underbelly of it, it climbs up in a nicer transition of value. Cleaning up that stem. Okay, brush away that eraser peel. Okay. I love how this top banana is hanging over the tabletop. So that shows dimension with that distance between its dropped shadow and it. Cleaning up little spaces in between. Restating that line. I don't want to go too heavy and hard in some moments. In other moments, it really does need more value to build up. you kind of organically grow with this, because it really does need building. It's not an instant 3 steps. Okay, I'm grabbing a simple paper coaster just to protect the banana as well as the ruler, just so I can do some background scribble or background rabble. It's kind of a moment to do some freestyling in your piece, be a little more lively with your brush stroke, and it gives a good contrast to your delicately rendered subject, to a more harsh, wild, pencil-y background. Add some energy to the piece. So now I'm restating the banana with that white pastel. Back to the pencil 2B. I don't want to outline the line on the banana. That is actually quite cartoonish, but I do see on the real banana that that plane is downward facing, so I have room to make it a little darker. Now it's the 2B that I'm using to make the spots on the banana. Our eyes might read them as really dark, but do not push that contrast too dark on the banana spots. Get that lighter pencil that you have, whether it's the 2B or a harder one, and go very lightly on it. Because if you squint at your subject, those dots and spots are almost lost completely. Just be really delicate. Just a little more spotting and dotting here and there. My bananas aren't very old. I should have maybe waited a day. Or with how bananas go, a few hours. When you work from life with the subject right in front of you, like something that's fading fast, like a banana, it's great because you have a self-imposed deadline to finish your piece. And then you can eat them after. Okay, a little more darkness in the back, accentuating that welcomed contrast of the bright banana. But it's really about subtlety. I always say in realism, subtlety is huge. Now, I could spend a lot more time, as they say, turning the form, making these value transitions smoother and getting rid of any static. But for now, I'm happy with this piece, so I'm gonna sign it. Before you leave, let's just talk about over contrasts. Through years, I've seen students do something like this, where they see a bright yellow banana and they just make the whole thing bright and completely ignore the tan paper. Allow the tan paper to do some of the heavy lifting in the piece. Use a harder pencil for those transition moments, making sure that there's a subtlety, and then a softer pencil to do those dark pockets, especially with this shadow. It's darker under the banana, and as it comes out, look at it, it has like this softer, lighter edge. So before you leave your drawing today, just check those little points, and I guarantee you it'll improve its look. Thank you for drawing with me today. I think every day is a good day when you get to be creative. Please join me for my next sessions. And until then, happy drawing. See ya.